so it occurs to me that in the world of guitar, we all start with this, we're just playing open chords. And that's good, you know, we can play songs and we can play these open chords. But once you start to like play electric guitar with a band, playing big chords like this isn't really the best option, right? You don't want 6 strings going all at once. If there's already a bass player, another guitar player, that's kind of a lot. One of the first places that we go after we get out of this open chord, some people call them cowboy chords. So the first places we go is we start to learn bar chords, which I think are most useful just because they make you kind of memorize a pattern and a position. So a lot of the people that I know over the last 30 years, 35 years playing guitar, they kind of maybe don't know all the notes on the guitar, but they know where one is. One of the notes is the bass note of the bar chord, so that's how they can orient themselves. And that seems to be the most common way that I've seen guys just figuring out, like, oh, okay, if I'm in A, I'm going to be here because I know the bar chord. Or maybe they kind of memorize the notes of the first 7. It doesn't matter where you're at. What I wanted to show you is I like to think of 4-string chords, not so that I could play the whole thing, but so that I can make a smaller pattern to memorize for when I'm improvising. And so what I'm talking about is, if you look at that PDF, for an A I have, you guys all see that first A chord that I put? So I'm barring across the 2nd fret, and then I got my little finger playing the 5th fret. Yeah, I like to think of this as a grip. So I'm like, I'm thinking I'm in A, this is where I'm gonna set up my kind of like home base. And then my second grip for A would be this chord. We had it last time, we were playing it in C. A lot of people know it as an F chord. So if you're playing your cowboy chords and you're doing an F, it's the same thing but in the 5th position. So now I got 2 A's. And then the 3rd A chord on that PDF is up here with your 2nd finger on the 10th fret. So it's kind of a tricky little pattern. But this one actually ends up being probably the most useful. So, using these, I was thinking a great exercise would be to play rhythm, meaning play some comping, with just those 3 strings. So I'm going to use the 2nd string, the 3rd string, and the 4th string. And you can either strum it or you can use pick and finger. And I know I'm giving you a lot right now. Everybody actually just play the chords one time, just get it down. You got all 3 versions. All of these have an A as the highest note. So when I'm here, this is an A. When I'm here, that's an A. That's the highest pitch. And then on the 2nd string here on the 10th fret, that's also an A. So my idea is that if we could play some rhythm guitar with these 3 shapes, we can find grips to do our improvisations all over the whole guitar. Demonstrate. Here we go. So the track's about to go to a different chord, but you see how in this little pattern I can play a rhythm. So that would be a great exercise. Just put on a metronome and see if you could play rhythm. And if you want to strum it, that's cool. Or you could just use the little claw, which I'm playing the 4th string with the pick, and I'm playing the 3rd string with my middle finger and the 2nd string with my ring finger. So if you're not used to doing this, I think they call it hybrid picking now. Pick and finger. It's kind of a chicken picking or a country approach with the pick. getting a nice rhythm with that and a grab, even if this is new to you, it's going to make you more accurate when you do go to play with the pick. And it just has a significantly different sound. The pick's fine, but this little grab with three, or the pick and then 2 fingers, it's going to be great. In fact, if you had a Bigsby or a whammy bar, just using those could sound like the beginning of a solo. Let's see if I can do it. Just imagine that was whammying more like I had a whammy bar. So I put down on the chart the whole chord so you could use that in other things. But for this exercise, I'm actually playing the bass note. The lowest note I'm playing is the 4th string.
Right.
So I'm primarily focused on the 2nd string, 3rd string, and the 4th string. So I'm just using like the 3 strings right next to each other. For now. Of course, you can change it up. That's where the creative thing gets in. Because I have the open A string, I could use the 5th string. I don't think my guitar liked that bending of the neck there. You're going to use these chords as a grip and as a way to find where you are for whatever key you're playing in. If you look on that chart that I sent you guys, I have a major pentatonic scale from each of those grips or positions. And we'll get into that in a second. The other thing I wanted to talk about is, if you know it in A, you can do 3 different voicings in A. The next step would be to learn another key. So I would say D, because this backing track that I have is a 12-bar blues. It's a, D, and E in this song. Then you're playing, you're kind of memorizing the entire fretboard without having to sit down and do like some serious flashcards or some boring ass, like I'm just trying to learn every note on the guitar. Instead, you can have fun by making a little game out of it. So this might be a little fast out of the beginning, but if you're like, okay, I think I get it. Where's my D chord now? Okay, well, if you look at the chart that I sent, the one that we were using for A with the root on the 10th fret is now over here with the root for the D chord on the 2nd string 3rd fret. Is everybody following what I'm talking about? So I'm doing those same 3 voices for a D now. If you're not following, raise your hand. I'll slow it down and break it down again. So I got A, and now I'm like, okay, D. What are the 3 choices for D? And then I'm like, okay, that sounds pretty good. That should be easier to go for a D now, or a E, excuse me, because that should only be 2 frets away. Maybe that's not how you think. It doesn't matter. What matters is you're starting to memorize where these little shapes are. So now I got an E. So here's my game. I'm going to see if I can play all 3 of those while the backing track or the band, if we had a band, that would be ideal. But 2. And I'm back to A. Happened fast. Okay, I gotta do it fast next time. So I'm making a little game out of it. we're learning 3 different chords. We're learning where the notes are. We're also learning a right hand technique, and we're working on our ability to kind of see ahead when we're playing along with the band. Like, okay, what's going to be 4 bars of this A chord? Okay, here it comes. Here comes the D. Oh, made it, or I didn't make it. Either way, you're getting real in time, real life feedback about how you're doing. Did you make the changes or not, right? So next to each chord, I put a major pentatonic scale. If you just play it as I've written it, it's going to sound kind of hokey. I would assert that it's probably going to sound. The idea is once you have your grips or your chord shape that you like, from there you can add notes or at least find the scale for your improvisation. So if I was going, I start to add notes to what I'm doing. So for instance, in that first one, the note that's on the 3rd string, 4th fret, that's the one you want to bend. I know you guys on acoustic guitar, that's probably a little rough, but it's still good to know. You can slide to it even if you didn't want to bend it. So that would be a great starting place for a improvisation. You've gone through. And now you want to play a little solo. So it sounds kind of just kind of scaly, but that's okay. We're getting the rhythm together with it. Let me do a demo actually. Here's the thing about country and jazz and a lot of styles outside of rock. You want to play the changes. So you want to play a melodic idea that fits the next chord. Whereas like a lot of rock cats and even blues cats, they'll play one scale or one sound over the whole song. Not wrong, it's not wrong at all, like that's the style. But a lot of these country cats and jazz guys swing. You want to play a melody that accentuates the chord that you're playing. So that's where these grips come in really freaking handy. So you start going like, look, I'm just gonna play my A chord here, my D chord here, my E chord here. I'm just gonna stay in this position now that I got my 3 chords, and I can use my scale patterns there. Oh, now it's going to the D chord. Back to A. Oh, wait, I need an E, shit. Oh, here's my grip. D. Back to A. You're playing alone, you didn't have this backing track or a loop where you could be. Trying to move the same one around as a game. You really kind of can gamify it, and it really looks like that when these country pickers are doing this stuff. It looks like it's like a little game. Like, oh wait, this one's here. They discover it newly every time they freaking play. So I got the A, and I wrote it descending because just going like this sounds rad. going to bend one, it would be this one. Okay, now I'm on shape 2. This one is a little wacky, but it comes in handy. We'll talk about it. You got to jump out of position to get that note on the 4th fret. Yeah. Cool. And then over here, this guy, if you want to finish it on the 5th string, you're going to use a little finger. So it's a little awkward because you got to rest that little finger all the way to the 5th string. But I'm going. And this one's nice because you get to use 1 and 3 a lot. This one's cool. Cool. Now I'm going to do them all in D. So I got this guy. The scale, the fingering will be identical to the one I just played. I'm just in a different spot. Okay, and then if I'm in this position, it's the same as the first one for A that I did. Yep. And then I got the D over here from this version of D. And then I'll do it for E. So I'm going to start with this guy. Cool. And then I have for E, this guy. The first one from A. This one's going to be so money. We're going to learn a lot of licks from this one. And then the E, the final version for E would be... Oops. Okay, so just to be clear, step 1 would be to put on some kind of rhythm track and play the chords. So you memorize them in real time with a real drummer, with a real bass player playing the right chords. Next would be to play the chord and then add a little melody there. Still with the track. So you're playing a melody that matches the chords that are happening. And then the next step would be to play one of these licks that I'm going to show you guys right now. So you're in this first grip that we talked about. Bend the 3rd string with your 3rd finger. While it's up there, use your little finger to play the 1st string. Yeah.
Is it a full bend or a half a bend?
It's a whole step. And you guys that are on acoustic guitar, I'm sorry, it's probably a little bit of a challenge. Anytime you're bending, I highly suggest using 2 fingers and the fulcrum of your arm turning. It's not a finger thing. Your fingers just aren't strong enough to bend a note accurately. It's this, anchor it down and then crank your arm up. 2 fingers. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so I like to go.
It's a half a bend, right?
What's
it's
that?
Not a full.
Whole step.
It's a half bend.
Yeah, whole step. And then I'm using my little finger for the A on top. Yeah. The challenge is to leave it up there while you're playing that high note.
Of course, you're picking up 2 notes out of this shape.
Exactly. Exactly.
You want to bend it to a whole step. Right.
Now here's where it gets challenging, but also very money. I'm going to play the top note, and then I'm going to play the note on the second fret. So I'm up, first string, third string, first string, third string, return it, and I'm back. One more time. So I'm going between the third string and the first string. This is,
try again.
Yeah, awesome.
This is working.
I'll take it. Very nice. So now this would be step 3. After you're already good at playing the chords, I just want to specify, like, we definitely want this to be second nature to find the grips. After you've done that, then you can use your lick. This is a game. My hand is falling off. So just by finding those grips and having one lick, I'm saying something now, you know, in a way that sounds like it's intentional. So the next one is in this shape. Do we know what chord this is? We got our D shape. So the root is here. If you can get this note to stay where it is and then play the note, it's in the scale, if you want to look at the scale or whatever, but I'll just tell you, I'm on the second fret of the third string. If you can keep the D ringing, the one on the second string, keep that ringing while you do a hammer-on. So you're doing a hammer-on on the third string, and that would be down with the pick. And then you play the second string with either the pick or your finger. Now this is one of the most useful licks ever because it works in R&B, rock, country, and you get a lot of mileage with it. It's repetitious. So then what happens is I start going. Doing it that way, where you're moving it around, is reinforcing where the notes are and where your shapes are again. Let's go back to this shape. This is the second one of the A situation. We're gonna do the same thing, but on the top 2 strings, we're gonna do like a little bar, a little mini bar. Our first finger is gonna push down the first and second string. For some people, this is very challenging because this one needs to be pretty much all the way extended while moving this. And just to change it, we're gonna add a bend. So that's the first string. I'm moving it over from the second string with my third finger. And And it doesn't even have to be in tune, it's more for dramatic effect. Okay, so I'm gonna do that one with the track. Like a mission to see how fast you can play it once you get it. The way to build it is to do the rhythm on all the chords and then add a lick on every chord, and then once you feel real comfortable there, you're like, you know what? No one's home. I'm just gonna try it. I'm gonna just try to play all of them all together. Like I noticed that this D chord is really close to this A chord, so I'm gonna see if I can put my licks all together in the same solo or in the same improv as a game. Running through the scales a bunch too helps when you start to be like, this is getting tired. I want to add a different note to it, or just try to play the scalar thing, little melodic thing there. Very cool. Very cool. I'll make another PDF and send it to you guys. Just the guys that showed of some of my favorite licks based on this whole thing. So this one, very good. You can also use this note. There's just little quirks that you can, or little tricks you can add on to these. So instead of going, you can add this guy. It sounds super, super twangy. So you get the point. Kind of out of context, it doesn't sound right, but if I played it in context, it's little licks that you can really. So I'll make a PDF of like my top 10 of these licks that work in all these different grips. Yeah. When in doubt and you're playing a major pentatonic scale, I want you to bend the second pitch. So if this is do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, I want you to bend the 2. It's always money. If you're playing major and you're gonna bend the 2 up to 3, you're gonna bend re up to mi. I mean, it works on R&B stuff. Works on reggae stuff. actually, all these licks that we learned today would work on all the styles. This one would sound pretty country, though. I will say this one might not. It's pretty... That one's got... You gotta have spurs on for that one, probably.